It's day 21. We're about to drink one of my favorite distilleries. And I finally get to unveil this comparison as all in because it's Springbank 10. And there is no question that Springbank as a distillery is Tom Waits. Flat out, Tom Waits. Springbank is this distillery that when you drink it and you're not used to this kind of thing, it just knocks people on their ass, even more than the peaty whiskeys, because not only does it often have that dense smoke heaviness, but it also has that phenolic rubbery content that a lot of the Campbelltowns have. But it also has all of this hauntingly beautiful sweetness. If you can get past that initial bam and stick around long enough, behind it, there's this just deep, beautiful soul and almost like childlike melodic structure, right? And that's the thing is, the songs that Tom Waits, especially the ones he wrote with his wife, Kathleen Brennan, the songs that everyone covers are inevitably ones that if you strip Tom Waits' voice out of the way, it's a children's lullaby. But it's a children's lullaby being delivered by Tom Waits. So by just a shattered, broken, fractured, amazing vocal. And even the 10, while it's a little less of a than the Springbank 12 cask strength, which is my personal favorite Springbank, and I've got probably a dozen Springbank releases over here because I love them. But yeah, there's just a density and an aggression and a sweetness and like a phenolic rubber. But so good. Yeah, see, actually it was Campbelltown and Springbank specifically that taught me to love sherry cask. Because I sort of avoided it when it was dominant. But the sherry cask in Springbank is so combined with all the things that make Springbank Springbank that you don't sip it and go, sherry. You sip it and go, oh, Springbank. And then you sort of fall in love with those deep sweet notes that are back there. And eventually you go and discover those notes in non-peated, heavy phenolic whiskeys. And you sort of, that's the path that I went down. It's very weird, but that's the path I went down. It took Springbank and Campbelltown to teach me the beauty of a sherry cask finished scotch. And man, if you go watch early Tom Waits, actually, if you really want to understand, I think, if you really want to understand the soul and what makes Tom Waits so magical, see if you can find his performance on Austin City Limits, the old one, where he starts the whole show smoking a cigarette, leaning up against a gas pump tank. And that show it shows you, that performance, it just shows you Tom Waits in all of his variations and styles and his whole vibe. And then when you go watch interviews or other music videos or things like that, it makes a little bit more sense. But I mean, if all you ever did was stumble onto him and his music video for God's Away on Business, you would be like, what in the world is this? This is the guy who wrote Long Way Home that Norah Jones covered? That can't be right. But it is. And I really hate the Norah Jones version. And I don't hate Norah Jones. I just think that Long Way Home, when it was delivered by Norah Jones, was just too pretty. And it lost that this is a song of heartbreak that is essentially the dialogue from a drug addict. And but when Tom Waits sings it, you definitely understand. So, the only bummer about these comparisons is as I start finding other whiskeys, I'm gonna have to try to keep track of what I've compared, because if I compared Springbanks to Springbanks, I'm not gonna find a new artist. What I'm gonna do is say, okay, we decided Springbank is Tom Waits. Which album is the 10 versus the 12? Right? So, I mean, we could play these music comparisons out forever. It's gonna be really fun. There's a lot of music out there. And if I had to pick, I would say this is Small Change, I think, is the album, because it's got a blend of like the really rough, brutal Tom Waits and the pretty Tom Waits and the spoken word Tom Waits. It just sort of covers a lot of boundaries. And this, the Springbank 10, just sort of evenly covers all of the characteristics of Campbelltown without tipping too far in any major direction. It's just dead center representative Campbelltown Scotch, I think. So, all right, guys, that makes it the 21st, only a few days. I hope you got your Christmas shopping figured out. Uh-oh, I haven't. But I'm shooting these videos beforehand, so I still got time. All right, until tomorrow, may your crazy stay this side of legal, and may you return before we have time to miss you. Cheers.